Alright, y'all. Today, we finna tackle the state of the Western Conference. Just like we did with the Eastern Conference, we gotta do it for Western Conference. It's probably gonna be a little bit more difficult just because I think this is just a fact that the Western Conference is just better and more competitive than the Eastern Conference. But today, that's what we're gonna talk about. Before we get started, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, are you gonna get this type of analyzation on ESPN? You're not. So why give your attention to them while you can give your attention to me? So please like, comment, and subscribe. It's very much appreciated. Let's get this channel out to as many people as possible so they could also hear my opinions / facts, because all my opinions are facts. We're gonna start at the top of the Western Conference. Last year, the number one seed, the youngest number one seed in league history, the Oklahoma City Thunder. I got right here, I have free agency. I have the free agency tracker pulled up. All the deals, trades, signings, extensions, or whatnot for every single team here. And I'm gonna be going off of that. Yeah, no, I don't want to say that. I have the list of all the free agent moves of all the teams here. I'm gonna start, of course, with Oklahoma City. Isaiah Joe returns on a 4-year deal. Aaron Wiggins also returns on a 5-year deal. They trade for Alex Caruso. They sign Isaiah Hartenstein. Very, very big contract. So a little bit of an overpay. But listen, I feel like now you're going to have to start being, I guess, adjusting your mind to the fact that role players even are going to get overpaid, because the luxury cap is going to keep going up. It's just going to keep going up. The NBA is earning a lot of money right now. So it's just going to keep spiking and spiking and spiking. But it was a good signing, of course. They lose Josh Giddey, of course, in the Alex Caruso trade, but that's not really a loss here. It's an upgrade. But they might be the winners of the offseason. Trading for Alex Caruso for a team that was already top 5 in defense last year, it just bolsters your defensive backcourt. I don't know if Alex Caruso is actually going to start, but if he does, a backcourt of Shea and Alex Caruso, that's probably the second best defensive backcourt in the league after Jrue Holiday and Derek White. Isaiah Hartenstein, if he's the one that ends up starting, so it's more like Shea and Dort backcourt with Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, and Isaiah Hartenstein. Isaiah Hartenstein is a very, very good role player, elite level role player at that. The way he played for the Knicks last season, especially starting for Mitchell Robinson, who was playing really good before he got hurt. The rebounding, the finishing at the rim, he has a good floater. He plays tough defense. The screening, the passing is all good. For a team like OKC, who was not good at rebounding at all last season, he's going to help significantly with that. It also takes pressure off Chet Holmgren, Chet Holmgren isn't soft, but he is skinny. So having to go up against Jokic or Embiid, like Isaiah Hartenstein can take the brunt of that. And then you can have Chet Holmgren playing more on the weak side, being more of a help defender. He's already one of the best shot blockers in the league. So the fit defensively for Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren, it's a success. The backcourt, of course, whether it's Lou Dort in the backcourt with Shea or Alex Caruso, that's good. Jalen Williams is I expect to take a leap. I think we all expect him to take a leap. I want to say they're not running it back because they made really good changes, but the core of the young guys are still intact. Shea is a league MVP candidate, probably for the rest of his career, barring injuries, of course. So OKC, probably the favorites to get out of the West. And they absolutely deserve to sort of have that title as like the number one team in the West, the number one team to probably beat in the regular season. They should be a regular season wins machine, of course. Coming off a season last year where they were top 10 in both offense and defense, to have to bolster your team with these veteran guys who are really, really good, elite role players. You can't say enough about them. Sam Presti, of course, might be the best GM slash president of basketball ops in the entire league. So W for them. They absolutely should be the #1 team in the West going into next season. The #2 team, who I have seen slash heard a lot of people give them flack, which they kind of deserve. The Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets re-signed DeAndre Jordan. DeAndre Jordan is just the bench guy, so that's not really a big thing. But they lose Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. After last offseason, where they lost Jeff Green and Bruce Brown, they've drafted, I wouldn't say they drafted bad, because they've drafted Christian Brown, Peyton Watson, Julian Strawther to replace those guys. But Michael Malone hasn't really played those guys. So for Denver and Denver fans, you're hoping that Michael Malone will play Christian Brown, will play Peyton Watson, will play Julian Strawther. Strawther can score. Peyton Watson is an elite defender. Like, I think he's a very... Bro, his shot blocking ability at 6'9" is crazy. Bro, like you go to the basket, and then you probably get it over Nikola Jokic, but here comes Peyton Watson with his long arms and his athletic ability, and he's just... You feel me? Just swatting it away because he's coming from the weak side and he's really great at that. And then Christian Brown, the perimeter defense, the shooting is probably going to be the one important thing I'm going to be looking at, because the thing about losing KCP is KCP was your best perimeter defender, arguably the best wing defender between him and Aaron Gordon. They had the best starting lineup in the league the past 2 seasons, and you're just letting him go for nothing. And they could have paid what the Orlando Magic ended up paying, but for some reason they just didn't want to. So it's a big loss. You are really, really banking on the development of the young guys. Again, Brown, who probably will start in place of Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Can he play the level of defense that KCP gives? Can he shoot the ball? That's really going to be important. Can he shoot 39% from 3? Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, they still have those guys. Aaron Gordon, elite level role player / fringe all-star guy. So they should still be very good. Obviously, we saw how Bruce Brown and Jeff Green probably hurt them in the long run after not re-signing them last season. But this season is going to be even more imperative. Again, I said a lot of people have been criticizing them, saying that they lost the offseason. They still have the best player in the world. They still have Mike Malone, who's a good coach. They still have Jamal Murray, who their pick and roll chemistry between those two, the chemistry between Aaron Gordon and Nikola Jokic. Michael Porter Jr. is still a 6'10" guy who can shoot 40% from 3 and is unblockable. So their team is still good. They're still an elite team. You can't just, push them to the side just because they lost KCP and they lost Bruce Brown and Jeff Green the past couple of seasons. Like Mike Malone, the time is now. You're gonna have to play the young guys. They probably have to diversify their offense a little bit. I think they've been easier. I thought they were easier to guard this past season than the last season. The read and react offense between the Nuggets was really, really hard to stop in 22-23. But in 23-24, it wasn't as hard. I don't think they were as dominant offensively this past season. And then defensively, again, perimeter defense, I still think their defense can be good. Again, you have the guys to replace the people you lost. So they can still be a good defense. But the offense is the one that I'm going to be looking for. Is their offense going to be a little bit different? It's going to be add a little spice, a little sauce to it, you know what I'm saying? And is the shooting still going to be there? Julian Strawther can shoot. And he was playing. The crazy thing is he got injured last season. He was playing, but then he got injured. So can he step into the rotation and plug a couple holes that the Nuggets have? But again, they're still a really good team. You can't count them out. They have the best player in the world. Then you got the Minnesota Timberwolves. Minnesota, essentially, I would say, is keeping the same team. Who did they sign? PJ Dozier, who was in Europe. I don't think that's like anything to really like. Oh my God, PJ Dozier. No offense to PJ Dozier. I'm not against you, bro. I'm just saying. You know, they also signed Joe Ingles, who I think is a fine veteran guy. He's someone who play like give you 10 minutes. That's really it. He's like 36 now. He's not what he was in Utah. But they lose Kyle Anderson. They lose Monty Morris, who honestly wasn't even really playing that much towards the end of the season. So I don't really know if that's that big of a deal. They lose Kyle Anderson is like the big loss because he was the small ball four. If a team decided to play zone against them, you can use him as the zone buster. In the middle, he can play make, he can score, even though he's really slow. Really slow. You know, he can still give you some points. He's gonna defend the other team's best winged player. He was guarding Luka, and Luka was giving him the business. But I thought he didn't do a bad job on Luka, as a matter of fact. I don't think he did a bad job. They essentially have the same team. We're going to see if Rob Dillingham, who they need a backup point guard. They do. They need a backup point guard. Rob Dillingham, he is a small guard, but offensively he has a whole bunch of talent. Defensively, can he hold up? Is going to be a really big question, not for this season, but for the next few years. Okay, it's a bit of a gamble taking the fact that they traded with San Antonio to get Rob Dillingham. Again, a lot of offensive potential. He's very fast. He's a really good passer, so he can run your second unit. If he can run your second unit, then it's a success. It's a success. Yeah, I can't speak. But because he's such a small guard, defensively, can he hold up? Now, Minnesota is coming off a year where they were the best defensive team in the league. So you can put him around Anthony Edwards, McDaniels, Rudy Gobert, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. You could put him around those guys, and they can cover up for him defensively. That's the luxury that I guess Rob Dillingham has of playing with this team, that he's playing with a bunch of guys who are elite wing defenders, elite perimeter defenders, elite at the rim like Gobert. But teams are still gonna attack him. Can he be okay? Like can he be a kleptomaniac and steal the ball like Chris Paul? Can he be hard to guard in the post? I'm not betting on that. I'm just asking questions to be a little bit, That's it. I know he's not gonna be a low post defender like Kyle Lowry, but stick with me. Like, can he be something on defense? You know what I'm saying? Can he be something on defense? But this is a team that they're gonna have a little bit more pressure now. They just made the Western Conference Finals. They did get smacked by Dallas. It was very competitive, but they did get smacked in 5 games by Dallas. We'll see how good they are this year. They will be there. They're in the upper echelon, definitely, of the Western Conference. The Denver, the Dallas, not Dallas. Well, I guess Dallas. We'll get to them next. Denver, OKC, and Minnesota, like, they're up there. They're in the upper echelon of teams that can contend/win right now. Dallas Mavericks signed Klay Thompson. That's their big acquisition, a 3-year deal. They get Quentin Grimes, which low-key I think is a good move. I low-key think that's a good move. From the Pistons, I don't know why the Pistons gave him up. Whatever. They signed Najee Marshall, another good signing. A 3-year deal from what's that team down south? The New Orleans Pelicans. They get it from there. They re-signed Spencer Dinwiddie. I don't know how much Spencer Dinwiddie is giving you at this point, but it's an option. It's an option. They lose Tim Hardaway Jr. in the trade to get Quentin Grimes. They sent him to Detroit. They lose Derrick Jones Jr. He ends up going to the Clippers, who we'll talk about next. Josh Green to the Hornets. My biggest concern is, can they be what they were defensively last season, this season? Did I word that correctly? Did y'all understand? Let me say it again. Can they be good defensively this season like how they were last season after the trades? That's, to me, is going to be very, very important, because Derrick Jones Jr. was their best perimeter defender / on-ball defender. Now you lose that and you replacing him with Klay Thompson, who will bolster your offense for sure. I mean, Luka and Kyrie are going to generate so many open threes for that guy, especially Luka. The corner threes, like, Klay Thompson should live in the corner. Klay Thompson should absolutely live in the corner. And I know even at this stage in his career where he's not an all-star level player anymore, he's not a superstar player anymore, he's still a dangerous threat from three. He's still one of the best shooters in the NBA. Don't forget that. So you're replacing Derrick Jones Jr. with Klay Thompson. They still obviously Derek Lively, who was amazing last season, his rookie season. Daniel Gafford was amazing pickup. PJ Washington showed you something on defense. So you have that. But who's gonna guard LeBron? Who's gonna guard Kevin Durant? Who's gonna guard Anthony Edwards? You know, like that's my thing. Who's gonna guard the other team's best wing player? We're gonna have to see. Klay Thompson, well, it's already been said that he will be starting. So how defensively, like Klay Thompson isn't what he was on defense either. How will it work defensively? Offensively, I don't really have that much trouble. Again, do they still have Dante Exum? I think they still have Dante Exum, but they still have pretty good role players off the bench. Maybe your young guys, Omax Prosper, can develop and get better. Again, Quentin Grimes, Najee Marshall is good depth. They're a team who I would put in the upper echelon of contenders. I do worry about their defense, but offensively, they should be fine as long as Kyrie is healthy. As long as Luka is healthy, those two guys can put up 120 points whenever they feel like it as a team. So now we gonna transfer to the Clippers, who, of course, the big thing, they lost Paul George. Paul George decides to leave, signs with the Philadelphia 76ers. This 5-year window with Kawhi and Paul George, hate to say it, but it's a failure. They got to one conference finals. Most of the team's years have been riddled with injuries between Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. They unfortunately didn't get anything done. I won't scoff at the fact that they actually made the conference finals for the first time in their history in 2021. Kawhi Leonard was cooking. He tore his ACL in game 4 against Utah. Terrence Mann steps up. Paul George steps up. They lose to 6 games to Phoenix, unfortunately. But to me, if Kawhi was healthy, they're going to the finals. And they might win. But you could also say that for every year. In 2020, that was the one time with Montrezl Harrell, Lou Williams, and everybody was healthy and younger, of course. But that was probably the one other time where they could have truly, truly won. Every other time they've been injured. Kawhi Leonard got injured in 2023 against Phoenix. He got injured this season with the knee stuff. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because those two guys, when they were playing, were really, really good. When Kawhi is healthy, he still can play at a top 10 level in this league, offensively and defensively. And you know he's a great playoff performer. But the time was to move on. They did they re-signed James Harden to a 2-year deal. I thought it was a nice contract. They signed Mo Bamba, Nick Batum, Chris Dunn, what I think was their latest signing. Kevin Porter Jr. and Derrick Jones Jr. Those are all nice guys. Mo Bamba is a nice backup center to have just in case. Nicholas Batum, even at his age, can still give you good minutes. Chris Dunn is perimeter defender. He got that in his bag. Again, same thing with Derrick Jones Jr. and Kevin Porter Jr. We'll see. But still have Kawhi, of course. They still have James Harden. If they want, I still think this team can make the playoffs. If they want to even sniff a conference finals, James Harden's probably gonna have to channel some Rockets. James Harden, you know, he's what, 34 now. He's gonna have to play amazing. He averaged 16 and 8 last season. He might have to average 22 and 8 this season. He's gonna have to score more. There's a lot of responsibility now that's gonna be on his shoulders to score a little bit more. Terrence Mann, can he up his offensive volume? Norman Powell, who is usually in a 6 Man of the Year conversation. I still think, obviously, he's still going to be good. I'm not really worried about him. But Paul George leaves a hole at the wing spot. He is a 40% 3-point shooter. Obviously, he can still defend at a high level. Losing him is an absolute loss. I can't put them at the upper echelon of contenders. And it's going to be tough because the West is so hard. It's so difficult to get through the West. It's going to be difficult to make the playoffs, to even make the play-in tournament. They could drop to the play-in tournament. They could drop to number 8, especially since you don't know how healthy Kawhi is going to be. It's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult for them. Losing Paul George is going to leave a really big hole. And if Kawhi Leonard isn't healthy, I'm not sure how this team can find any level of success, especially in the postseason.